Today I've got something a little bit different for you guys. It's not the usual content, which is, like reviewing something with Apple Silicon or something used and practical. Today I've got a time capsule. This is a titanium PowerBook, specifically the very last one. And it was sent to me by a viewer who actually bought it new back in 2002, 20 years ago. So this thing is a time capsule and it is in great condition. But today we are going to bring it just that little bit of the rest of the way to having a really flawless, beautiful 20-year-old time capsule. So if you can't wait to see what happens, get subscribed, leave a like down below, and let's get started. So this PowerBook G4 Titanium was the final revision. It's the most powerful G4 PowerBook that money can buy. And there's sort of a cult following for these because it added a couple of features that allowed it to be used well past where you would think a 20-year-old laptop would be useful. So for one, the biggest thing, if we look around the back, it actually has a DVI port. And that meant that this could be used with external monitors that were much more recent and much higher resolution than previous models. Now, I happen to be a bit of a fan of the titanium PowerBook, and I actually have 3 of them. But most of these that are around today don't look anything like this. They mainly tend to look a little bit more like this. This one is rough. There's not really any other way to describe it. The paint is worn and chipping. We're missing a hinge. It's, ow. The hinge is pretty loose as well. This is not a pristine time capsule example, but this actually exemplifies a lot of the issues with the G4 Titanium PowerBook, and mainly that it was painted titanium rather than anodized aluminum, which meant that the paint could chip and look really bad, and the fancy but very fragile hinge mechanism was prone to breaking, as it has in this case. But weirdly enough, this PowerBook is actually going to come in handy today, because I actually bought this thing about 6 months ago for $40 because it had a pretty decent bottom plate, and I swapped that with one of my other PowerBooks where I wanted a nicer bottom plate. So that was the only reason I bought this. A nice bottom plate for 40 bucks. That was pretty much all I wanted, and it just happened to come with the rest of the computer. But from what I have seen, the 2 things that I want to replace on this PowerBook are the only 2 things that are actually nice on this one. How perfect is that? So let me give you a little walkthrough of the PowerBook that was sent to me by a viewer. So straight away, just looking at this enclosure, you can see how pristine it is. I mean, you do not see PowerBooks that look like this anymore. The white paint, particularly around the palm rest area, is extremely prone to chipping. And the only area where that's the case here is this one tiny little spot on the hinge. That's the only imperfection as far as I can see. Now, if we go ahead and open this guy up, I can show you the 2 things that I want to take care of. Number 1 is the bezel on the display. The previous owner, or I should say the original owner, told me that it had been damaged, and you can kind of see here that it's coming off, and they tried to repair it with, just tapping out the dents, but it definitely could use a replacement. And the other thing is, this computer was actually used for about 10 years, and so the keyboard is fairly worn. The other PowerBook, which I bought for 40 bucks and is in terrible condition, actually has a nice bezel and a really clean keyboard. So it's pretty perfect because we can use the only good parts on this pretty destroyed machine to make a really nice one even better. But before we do that, I do want to just pop back over here because this PowerBook actually has a few upgrades. Oh, there's a chime. Can we get a display signal though? Yes! It took a while. I don't know how long this thing has been off for, but here it is. This thing is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And the display is in really good shape. These things are known to have bright spots, dark spots, lines down the middle because the flex cables are really fragile. But this one is absolutely perfect. This thing really is beautiful, but we're gonna make it even better. So let's start with the keyboard, because this is not like what you would find on any other Apple laptop in the past 20 years. So since 2008 on a Mac, the keyboard is actually riveted into the top case, which means you have to take everything out and then the keyboard is accessible. And since the Retina MacBook Pro, you can't even really do that because it's basically welded in. But fortunately, back in 2002, Apple was a little bit more consumer friendly. And so all we have to do to take this keyboard out is grab these two little pull tabs up here on top. Go ahead and pull those up and look at that. Isn't that absolutely unbelievable? Just pull it right up here. We have access to a vertically mounted ribbon cable and the keyboard is out. No screws whatsoever. And now look at this. We even have access to the RAM slots. Not even a screw is required to replace your RAM. That's how consumer friendly this machine was when it came out. So we'll set that off to the side here, and you can probably see here in the light how shiny a lot of these keys are. This is pretty typical of, well, a 20-year-old laptop. It doesn't look exactly new and fresh. This is a far cry from Apple now, where even going from the M1 to the M2 MacBook Pro with an identical chassis, they changed the keyboard so you can't swap them. Boom, there we go. Fresh keyboard. So now let's go ahead and turn our attention to the bezels, because that's definitely the major weak point here. So we'll just go ahead and get those swapped out real quick. Well, after quite a bit of time holding the bezel down with some super glue applied to it, we have ourselves a beautiful, beautiful time capsule. I even went ahead and grabbed my Mac OS 10.1 install disk and put the original software that came on this thing back when it shipped in 2002. And I have to say, this thing is simply gorgeous. You don't see titanium PowerBooks like this one anymore. And that's because, frankly, they're all either broken, stuck in a closet somewhere, or nowhere near as nice and as clean as this one. So a big shout out to Brian for sending this over. I'm absolutely overjoyed to have restored this one up. I always have a soft spot for the titanium PowerBook G4 because it is such a modern looking device. This thing came out in 2001, and the reason that it looks so modern and so different than all of the beige plastic gross boxes that were coming out at the time is because of this display. This super thin panel with a wide aspect ratio, not quite 16:9, but much wider than all of the 4:3 displays that were shipping on pretty much everything. And then you've got the iconic gray on white look, as well as these really cool but very temperamental hinges, and you've got yourself an iconic but not durable, shall we say, design. This thing is one of my favorite historic Apple products of all time. So I'm really happy with the way this turned out, and I'm honestly wondering if, now that I have the most powerful version of the PowerBook Titanium, should I try to update it? Rather than keeping it as a time capsule, should I update it, use Linux, and try to make it useful today? Let me know in the comments down below. As usual, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.